Well, hello and good morning. It's 8 a.m. here in New Delhi and I'm Charu Shankar.
And I'm Sejal Pandey. You're watching WION Breakfast with us.
But before we begin the show, let's take a look at what the heads up this morning is going to be. Delhi's street art is, of course, on the foreground today as we discuss art in the city today. On our show this morning, we will talk to famous street artist from New Delhi, Hanif Qureshi. Stay tuned to know what's behind the canvas of street arts.
This week on WION Stretch, we have Zubin Atre. Follow him for his unique yoga mantras.
And after yoga, we also have something for the food lovers. Stay tuned to find out what's on our quick bites this morning. Well, as you know, on WION Breakfast this week, we are celebrating art. The India Art Festival is on in full swing. And Sejal, what does art mean to you?
Charu, art means life to me. I think believing in art imitates life and vice versa. I think art is life for me. Everything that my life is about is an expression of art for me.
Wow, I really like what you said. Well, yeah, I think art is definitely a reflection of life, if not life itself.
There's so much happening. Lifestyle.
Yeah, and the canvas can be of different types, right?
And anything and everything in the world can be a canvas. It could be a table, it could be a piece of paper, it could be a board, it could be an actual canvas that you paint on.
It could be a stage.
It could be a screen.
It could be a studio. It could be a studio.
Anything.
Presenting live art here at WION Breakfast. Well, we of course did go across to the art festival and we asked people what according to them is art, and we got some really interesting responses. Take a look at this.
Art to me is my career and my passion.
Now, art to me is a thing of beauty. It's something that, when I look at it, appeals to me. And art doesn't necessarily need to come from a renowned artist. Art can be anywhere. Art can be a drawing on the sand, and art can be a puddle in the river.
For me, art is love, and love is color.
Art to me is an extension of my personality, something which I see myself doing every day, my likes, my dislikes, something which gives me comfort and joy.
I think art is what is an expression as in it is an action, not the product. But I think for an artist, the act of creation is the most important thing.
Beautiful, beautiful answers coming out of those bites. Charu, what does art mean to you?
Oh, wow. I think art to me is definitely just playful, colorful, fantastic expression.
Do you feel it's an extension of yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It has to be. It has to be. It has to be like my personality and the collective personality of the society we live in, of the world we live in. Right. And that point where the two match, that's where like the greatest art really lies. Right. Because that's where communication is at its brightest, sparkliest.
Right. In fact, I even think that I can almost never differentiate between work and my personal life in certain ways, because my work for me is my expression of my form of art,
There you go. And I think at some point in time we all just become our art, right?
Yes, absolutely. Art imitates life and vice versa. Moving on, street art has been transforming the streets of New Delhi in big ways. Artists from around the world are now collaborating with Indian artists to rejuvenate old buildings with their talents. WION's Shubhankar Basu brings us this beautiful, colorful report.
Street art on old walls like these along Delhi's Lodi Road are transforming public places in major cities of India.
So the world is their studio, and the cities are the studios, and not just like a one locked space where nobody gets to see it. While you're creating something which is out there in public space. In a city, when there is an art exhibition or something, if you go to the exhibition, you will find 80% of the crowd is kind of familiar. And they are the same people who's been going and visiting these shows and museums and galleries and everywhere. But common people's interaction with art is not happening, and somewhere common people have kind of also like in their head they're thinking art is something which they don't understand, and so that's a kind of like a clear disconnect. But an initiative like this definitely brings that gap closer.
Artists from around the world are gathering in major Indian metropolis, collaborating with local talent to break new ground, and in the process, generating new business opportunities.
When you talk about street art, the art that you go ahead and make on a maybe 20, 30, 50 feet or 150 feet long, tall, wide buildings, it's a lot of energy, effort, an artist giving a part of himself to that particular building or structure. You have to give an artist an expression of freedom and thought, mind, whatever is possible, and that freedom has to be there in all possible way.
Efforts of artists like Hanif have created a platform for younger artists to showcase their talent on a global stage.
The best part of our work is we think alike. What goes in my mind, Nikunj can easily predict, and this bonding helps us together to come up with a fine piece of art every time.
The way we wanted.
We feel the ambience and try to live the feel of our subject. A piece of art then comes up automatically.
Graffiti and street art on these walls have become a tool to preserve crumbling pieces of heritage. As time goes by, these murals will not only be a peek into the past, but will give its admirers a window into the future. In New Delhi, Shubhankar Basu, WION.
Wow, some really beautiful visuals coming out of that story. In fact, I just found out that one of my ex-colleagues was on that story, Charu.
Oh, really?
Yes, he was he's probably an ex-producer now. He's an artist now. But I worked with him before. He was a producer just like me. So I guess you just got to do what you got to do. You find your calling one fine day in your life and you just like take it forward.
Absolutely. Anything to take the story forward. Right?
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of stories, now let's look at some of the ancient storytelling traditions that we have. We are, of course, discussing art this week on WION Breakfast. And I want to bring you to the wonderful tradition of Dastangoi, or a storyteller's voice. Now, this is one of the ancient storytelling tools, and it's a form of art which is almost lost. The main artistic tool in the oral rendition of the dastan, or the story, the artistic field has remained majorly male-dominated.
Right, Charu. Breaking the shackles of patriarchy and male chauvinism comes forward a woman from a conservative Islamic background who today has risen up as the first female Dastangoi amongst the male Dastangois of India. Let's find out how her love for literature led her to learn the art of storytelling.
Dastangoi is an Urdu oral storytelling art form that dates back to the 16th century. One of the earliest references to Dastangoi in print is a 19th century text containing 46 volumes of the adventures of Amir Hamza, titled Dastane Amir Hamza.
In India, what is Katha in Hindi is Dastan in Urdu. From Arabia and Persia, this art form came to India. Then these texts got translated into Urdu and have been a part of the Indian history for a very long time. Dastan is the most effective way of representing culture. Dastan has been a long followed tradition between the end of the 19th and the beginning of the 20th century. Dastans were heard everywhere during this time. However, in the last 50 years in India, this art form nearly went extinct.
In the last decade, however, this art form has witnessed a revival of sorts. One of the most well-known modern-day Dastangos in India is Fauzia. But her journey to fame has not been an easy one.
Well, it was very difficult. My mother was not able to understand this. Most of the women in my family are mainly into teaching and academics. Forget performing arts. Beyond teaching, women are not considered worthy of any other occupation. Your daughter leaves around 8 a.m. in the morning and comes back at 11 p.m. In Old Delhi, in an Islamic background, it's not easy.
For scholars, performers like Fauzia are reclaiming a space that women should have rightfully commanded.
Earlier, the grandmothers used to recite the tale of kings, conquerors, of fairies, gods, and jinns. That is what men heard from them and recited outside in the neighborhood, as male Dastangos in the court of kings and emperors. But the main foundation to this tradition in reality is, and has always been, the women. Their voice is something that commands more attention. And a Dastango's voice is what is a real magic.
Despite her growing fame, Fauzia acknowledges that the performances aren't a viable source of income. For her, this is a labor of love through which she desires to return Dastangoi to its old glory.
There is not much money involved in this. You don't get paid well as usual. I got recognition when I started working alone and started my own Dastangoi, The Storytellers, and quit my job in 2014. My power is not Amir Hamza's tales. Even though I continue doing modern Dastans but have always kept the flavor of Old Delhi intact in terms of languages and spirit of the text. I want to make it an art form of the street and lanes. As a female Dastango, I want to go to remotest places of the country and perform there, telling the people their own stories. The people's stories in the format of Dastangoi.
From a conservative setup to a stage performer, Fauzia's tale is finally being heard. Perhaps in her endeavor, she can not only revive a lost art, but also inspire others like her to follow their dreams. In New Delhi, Shubhankar Basu, WION.
Well, storytelling is definitely an art form that should not be lost. In fact, Sejal, I have the fondest memories of listening to stories from my father, from my grandmother, you know, my grandparents. Yes. And my grandmother wasn't much of a storyteller, but she actually picked up some Amar Chitra Kathas and, you know, bought a book of Panchtantra, you know, the stories from our Indian traditions, and she used to read them first and then read them out to us as children. Right. So she actually educated herself into that tradition.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, my mom introduced me to storytelling and to books, and every Saturday I would get to buy a book, you know. I could choose whether to buy chocolates and toffees, and I could choose between buying chocolates and toffees and
you went in for the book?
I went in for the books, and every Saturday I had a new book, and I'd go back home, I'd read the book, I'd finish it off, and my mom would scold me. She's like, you have to save this book for an entire week till you don't get a new story book. And I wouldn't even wait for my mom to read it out for me. So for the few days to cover until the next Saturday, my mom used to tell me the same story again and again. And that's how I remember most of my tales from childhood, you know. I read books now, but I also forget stories, but there are certain tales from my childhood that are just, that just stay with us.
Well, I have a friend, she's an actress, and her daughter, when she was growing up, the Harry Potter books were coming out, and so she would read a chapter out of the Harry Potter book to her daughter every day, and she used to do the voices of Voldemort and Hermione, and her daughter was just like, she was just enthralled by that, and those are some of their fondest bonding memories, you know, over the years.
The Harry Potter series is still my favorite set of books. In fact, ironically enough, this week's episode of Tech It Out is about bridging the gap between literature and technology. And Sahil and I were talking about our favorite books, and he took my case over Harry Potter's being my all-time favorites. We were talking about the genre of fantasy writing, so we spoke about that, and he named a book that I'd never even heard of, and I was like, the Harry Potter series forever. So every time, so us readers have this habit of, you know, keeping the next book ready even before we finish our previous book.
I, in fact, sometimes end up reading 2 or 3 books at the same time. Yes. You know, just to be able to, you know, take a book depending on what mood I'm in.
Yes. And every time I can't find a book, I go back to my Harry Potter. So I probably have read them like 7-8 times already.
Well, you know, there's a writer, Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Now, he made an entire literary genre out of listening to his grandmother's tales. It's called magical fantasy. And, it's called magical realism, I think.
Magical realism.
And so he made an entire genre out of it. And so if you read Marquez's books...
I've just picked up Love in the Times of Cholera.
Okay, well, I think my favorite still remains Chronicles of a Death Foretold, which we incidentally also studied when we were in college.
Okay.
And actually, when you read his books, you get this feeling of a very simple tale being told in an extremely magical, unrealistic fashion. So it evokes this whole sense of, is this really happening? Is this actually real? And this is coming from him as a child, listening to his grandmother tell all these fantastical stories with a very straight face. And that's what he's managed to translate into a writing style.
Well, beautiful.
So yeah, storytelling is definitely something that, of course, can just, take us places. But we were talking about art, and this week on WION Breakfast, we are celebrating art as the India Art Festival is on. And of course, as we go into February, India Art Fair is starting.
Yes.
And the winter is a fantastic time to be in New Delhi because there is just so much celebration. There's festival out of festival. So we went to the India Art Festival and we asked people why they are and what do they consider makes them an artist. Here's what they had to say.
Painting, these three are my paintings. So I generally do street kids. And sometimes I click the pictures of some children when they are into some kind of action, proper action. Otherwise, I click street kids and then I paint them.
I feel I'm free through my art to do my work and to show it to the public. I enjoy doing it. It's a simple technique, pen and ink. Minute drawing, it takes a lot of patience to do something like this.
I enjoy painting. I paint every morning for 4 to 5 hours. I've lived in South Africa for 20 years and I have exhibited internationally. Last year I had my show at UNESCO, main UNESCO headquarters in Paris.
When you paint, you kind of lose yourself and a lot more what is hidden within you comes out. And it's a great way of expression.
Because I was doing art from the childhood and I was a planter for about 1 year. But then I went back to Sanaa to teach. So it was, you can say, destiny. And I was doing ceramics from childhood. So now I'm sculpting. And I think whatever has to happen, happens. You can't avoid it. So that's it. That's how it became. And I think it's more of a passion.
I think that it's a medium that can be used in a very personal but comprehensive way to talk about issues or subjects close to your heart. And I think it's very essential to have that kind of outlet.
Well, it's time now to slip into a very short break. We'll be back with more stories from across the world. Please don't go anywhere as Charu and I serve you another serving of breakfast right here on WION Breakfast. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Well, we have the newspapers now for you, and it's time for Sejal and me to read between the lines of what the newspapers are reporting this morning. Well, Sejal, I want to talk to you about theatre. I mean, since we are celebrating art, I think definitely the stage is your and my first love, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I love the stage. And so here's some really interesting work which is happening in the world of theatre. The world of theatre is actually just bubbling with excitement and just very, very good new energy.
Right.
So the Tadpole Repertory Company, which is an excellent theatre group from Delhi, has collaborated with a theatre group from Tokyo, and they have created a new play which talks about how a city is internalized by its people. The 6 characters come together while trying to pursue their desires or escape their demons, and they are trapped between shadowy pasts and the foggy present. They negotiate love and loneliness, hunger and health, and their only comfort is also their greatest challenge, which is the city to which they belong. Now, I think this is a really interesting topic that they've pulled up, and they're exploring the concept of, you know, living in the confines of the city, feeling liberated by it, feeling imprisoned by it, the struggles that you face.
I kind of resonate with this story myself. I've lived in Mumbai myself for a couple of years, and I've lived alone over there, and most of who I am today I probably only discovered by going to a place that was completely new to me. So I was faced with new challenges, new situations, and I realized a completely new thought process that I had somewhere that I'd never even discovered. So and it was something that I'd never spoken to anyone about. So when it was happening with me, I used to always wonder that, how come I've not heard enough about this, you know? And we need to talk about real life situations more than, you know, glorious fictional situations, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. You know, one of the best plays that I saw was at one of the NSD festivals, and it was a play called Kiosk. I remember, again, by a Japanese theatre group. And it was the story of a woman who is sort of confined to a small kiosk cubicle that she runs, selling small items like little packets of chips and cigarettes and, you know, matchboxes and stuff, at perhaps a busy metro station. And that was the set. There was just this tiny kiosk and this lady confined to it, and her story. And it was in Japanese, but it was, watching it, I mean, obviously I don't speak Japanese, nor did I think most of the audience sitting in Delhi that day. But it was so clear, you know, her story, her struggles, her confinement, her liberation, and this sort of entanglement between the prison of being in a city and the liberation of being in a city. The fact that you can get up and go anywhere, the fact that you have finances, the fact that you have, you know, a space that you sort of make your own, you know, without like people crowding into it, you know. All of these are all part of city life.
Yes,
as is the pollution, as is the constant noise. I remember that
we're constantly surrounded by paradoxes.
Constantly surrounded by paradoxes. So yeah, I think this is going to be very, very interesting.
And like you said, that you couldn't understand the language, but the message was
the
so
message was clear.
So that's what art is. It transcends through languages.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this play very much. It opens in Bangalore today.
Okay.
And it's going to do a full tour of the metro cities by February. We're expecting the play in Delhi, in fact, on February 1st and 2nd. And I, for one, am definitely going to be there to watch it. It's based in a fictional city not far from yours, and the play is a collaboration between the theatre groups, the Tadpole Repertory from Delhi and a Tokyo-based theatre group. Now, here the actors, the past 2 years, the actors and directors visited malls, construction sites, aquariums, sex shops, war memorials, and shrines to children lost in the womb. And the play is sort of emerging from their experiences and the dialogue that emerged from visiting these places. They've used multimedia. They have a very minimalistic set. They've got a very innovative lighting design, and I'm really, really looking forward to watching this play.
The theatre and the theatre art is sort of, sort of dying, but. And I think it was dying for the last few years.
No,
but it's still, never thought it's now coming back again.
But you know, Sejal, this has come to me so much, and I'm very active in the theatre scene myself, and I don't think it's dying at all. I think that the audience is changing.
Yes.
That's what's actually happening. So
that's
people
what I
who were watching theatre before have now switched to soap, so I don't know.
Or they're probably going to the theatres to watch
movies. Yes, I think it is the audience that is shifting. I don't think it is theatre which is dying at all. In fact, theatre is thriving, and there's so much like fabulous collaborations that are coming out. You just need to go to Abhimanch, which is a 1-month-long theatre festival in NSD, where there are like 9 plays a day for a month. To know that theatre is not at all dying, it's very much thriving. You just have to get yourself to the auditoriums and watch the play.
Absolutely.
Okay, what do you have for us today?
So I have another form of art expression, which is poetry.
Okay.
This is again a poem by Priyanka Paul. I also remember reading another poem by her right here at WION Breakfast, that was about how the queer community, the homosexuals, are oppressed around the world. That they don't receive enough acceptance, and this is an 18-year-old girl, she's a teenager, and she had the sensibility to write out beautifully in words that why cannot we accept something as natural as that, you know? Why do we have to question them? Why can't we welcome them the way they welcome us, right? So, but this one is about war should never be an option. She says, you'll find news about wars on the first page of your daily newspaper in Times New Roman bold, black and red with graphic imagery of pixelized, velvety blood stamped across unnamed faces. Sing a song for them, go on. I'm sorry, art and music can heal a lot of things, but not this.
Wow.
It's moving. It's very, very moving.
That is really moving.
And again, she herself is an artist. She herself is expressing herself, but so powerfully she says war is absolutely not required, because no matter how much healing capacity art has, war is something that probably cannot be healed by art. It would take probably years and years of restoration of emotions, of restoration of cities, you know, to overcome the damages caused by war. So is war really necessary? Should war at all be an option?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I think we're all in agreement there.
Yes,
war should just not happen. War is just...
I just don't understand the concept of wars. It's sad. It's sad when I feel really sad and I feel really guilty when I have a fight with a person, you know. But so I just cannot imagine men killing each other with guns, you know, and what for?
Yes.
What for? Just certain things gone wrong in words, you know, some discussions falling apart, people pick up their guns and move out to the border.
It's sad.
It's really sad. It should never be an option.
Well, I think that's a wonderful note to hit for war. Well, moving you now to the DOI. On a slightly lighter note, let's talk about the war that we wage on our own bodies. Now, there's an article here that, and I really want to talk about this. It says, sitting too long doesn't just make you fat, it even spurs faster aging.
Oh.
So if there was ever a time to tell people, stop sitting, start moving, it is now. Because not only is it like adding to the bulk, but it is also going to fasten the aging process. Sitting down for long periods of time isn't just bad for your metabolism, it can make you age quicker. New research has found that sitting down for 10 or more hours a day without regular exercise can make a person's cells age prematurely and permanently.
Wow.
You know, that's the thing with age. Like the minute you start aging, it is not a reversible process, despite what a whole lot of creams and commercials that tell us about how wrinkles, you know, can go away.
Yeah.
Forget wrinkles. Wrinkles is the last of your worries. You know, you're worried about aging on the inside. You're worried about, you know, your cells sort of losing their vitality and all of this because...
And all of this also kind of has an emotional impact on you. You start emotionally losing vitality. You become less happier, more grumpy. You worry a lot.
You worry more. You become stressed because your body is under so much stress. That's what we don't understand. You know, our bodies were meant to move. We were designed to be movers and shakers. And so if we don't move, if we keep sitting or if we are stationary in one place, it's bad news for the body overall. Everything from the circulation down to your heart function, down to everything sort of just starts to go da 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 da.
I, for myself, I cannot sit for too long. We sit here, but by the time we get done, I'm itching to run away.
That's true.
Even at work, sometimes I'm standing and I'm typing something on my laptop and someone right next to me says, take a seat. I say, no, it slows me down. I realize it. I probably even you realized it once you started dancing, you know, because there's so much mobility happening. You're used to so much rigorous physical exercise that you just realize that that's what you're meant to do. That's how you're meant to be, and you're not meant to stop at all.
Not at all, not at all. And in fact, I realized, I mean, it was something that I felt while I was a dancer that yes, I think maybe sitting is not such a good thing. But then when I actually studied the subject, because I went on to get a professional qualification in fitness training, and when I studied the subject and I understood that most of the problems starting from backaches, you know, which are so common these days, to things like headaches, everything is eventually boils down to the unfortunate truth of the modern day world, which is that most of the time we're sitting. We travel, we walk to a metro station, we get into a train, we sit. For hours and hours and hours. Then we stand up, then we go to an office and we sit for hours and hours and hours. Then we come back and we sit and watch TV, or we sit and we eat. But we're just not moving enough.
We're only passively engaging with our environment.
And sitting, on a chair is actually the worst thing that you can do for yourself. If you have to sit, then you may as well do, how they do it in the villages, or like people who don't sit in chairs, they hunch down completely. That is a complete movement. This kind of sitting on a chair is actually a half movement that eventually ends up contracting the muscles in your hips and making sure that your back is completely loaded, that your hamstrings become weak, certain muscles become weaker because the opposite group is tighter. So there's the entire anatomy of it. So yeah, I mean, if you're going to have imbalances and pains and aches and stuff, then definitely you are aging faster. And now there's scientific evidence to prove that it is kind of premature and permanent. Oopsie, get moving.
Get moving, pick up a form of dance.
Easiest thing to do.
Easiest thing to do. I actually, again, I cannot gym, I cannot do yoga, but I can dance.
Everyone can dance. Everyone can dance.
That's the best way I can exercise. Again, yoga becomes a little monotonous for me, even though I enjoy Zubin's videos a little too much, but it becomes boring for me to do it myself. So my next story is about emoticons, and this story is about research, proper research happening about emoticons and how these emoticons in the day of social media, in the age of social media, we're so big at it. Most times we are communicating with people through social media because we live such busy lives. So a phone is accessible to us, a Facebook message just goes out like this, a WhatsApp goes out just like that. And it's also, these emoticons also make it easier to sort of communicate your emotions. Look at that. I mean, if you say, I could say okay like this, but if I say okay on WhatsApp, it'll just feel like
just boring. Like,
so okay then. So this entire research is happening on how emoticons are actually helping decode emotions for people online, and a lot of even psychiatrists are using these emoticons to decode certain cases or decode certain personalities, because there are people who are phobic of having real conversations. There are people who don't like having real conversations. They stick to their phones, they stick to expressing on social media, expressing on text messaging, but not actually in person. So a lot of
this can actually help them?
Exactly.
This is how I feel.
Look at these, there's a whole bunch of them. So instead of saying, I want to dance, you could just use that girl in the red dress.
Yeah, the girl in the red dress. Or like, I'm at the gym, could just be that guy over there, or that woman over there. With,
I'm playing, could just be that. Oh, I don't know how that works, because when you're in water, you can't message. So the swimming and the surfing, I don't know. Oh yeah, and there's the poop icon, which remember that mom thought
mom thought it was a Hershey's kiss.
Hershey's kiss, yes. So yes, beautiful. So many. I mean,
well, I think recently
emotions.
They've gone ahead and made emoticons, first of all, of different colors.
Yes.
Which I thought was really interesting. So you have various shades of brown.
And yellow.
And yellow.
And white.
And white. And so that was very interesting. And they've also made them kind of gender neutral.
Yes.
So you have these, the first layer of emoticons is gender neutral.
Yes.
And then there are, of course, more specific ones, which don't get used so often.
Yes.
So I think that, emoticons in that way are also kind of like a social sort of signifier of what's going on in the world.
Right.
Very interesting indeed. Well, yeah, that's what we have to say. We're okay with the show then, and
A1, okay.
A1. Well, it's time now to slip into a quick break, and we'll see you on the other side of it. You're watching WION Breakfast.
Welcome back. You're watching WION Breakfast with me, Sejal Pandey, and the lovely Charu Shankar. Before we went into the break, we picked up the newspapers and read the headlines. But here's what's happening around at this hour in the world. Take a look.
All right, here are the headlines this hour. Massive protests continue in Tamil Nadu against the ban on Jallikattu. Massive crowds thronged the Marina Beach area in Chennai. A.R. Rahman to observe a one-day fast today.
More protests, but from the US. Massive protests outside the Trump Tower in New York as Washington, D.C. is gearing up for Donald Trump's swearing-in ceremony.
Senegalese troops enter Gambia in support of the new president, Adama Barrow. He took the oath of office at the Gambian embassy in Senegal's capital, Dhaka.
And US strikes in Libya have left more than 80 Islamic State fighters dead, some of whom were believed to be actively plotting attacks in Europe.
Well, those, of course, were the headlines at this hour. But it's time now to stretch with WION Stretch. And we, of course, this week bring you a yoga session with Zubin Atre, where he will be taking his Atre Yoga series further. And it's going to help you keep very, very fit.
Ohayo gozaimasu. This is Zubin from Atre Yoga Studio, and today I'm here with a beautiful set of asanas, and they are going to challenge you when it comes to balance. They are going to challenge you when it comes to strength. And the tip for today would be to keep breathing and keep your eyes focused at one point. I hope you will enjoy it. Grounding your feet right on the top of your mat, keeping your feet parallel to each other. Heels will be right under your hip girdles and you'll be standing tall. Now from there, when you breathe out, you'll be just extending both your arms out in front and parallel to each other, and let yourself bend your knees in chair's position. Leave your shoulders further out and away from the ears, lessen the arch you have in your lower back, and continue to breathe in and out. From there, when you breathe in and out, you let yourself pay more attention on the exhalations, letting yourself breathe out completely in a way that you'll be letting your navel go in closer and closer towards the spine. From there, when you breathe in, you'll be sending both the arms up higher over the head. Now, from there, when you breathe out, you'll be bringing both your arms at your shoulder level, expanding your chest open and wide. From there, as you breathe out, you'll be bringing both your arms out in front and parallel to each other. Now, get the body weight towards your left foot. Now, as you bring your body weight towards your left foot, you'll be extending your right leg out in front. Reach out with your toes as far as they can get and hold that position with stability and stillness. Take a long deep breath in, send the arms up over the head. At the same time, you'll be stepping with your right foot back. Sinking with your hips down in a way that you get your left thigh parallel to the floor. Continue breathing in and out. Continue pulling your chest bone away from the left knee. Use the strength of the left thigh to hold that position comfortably and still. Get the arms at your shoulder level. Expand the chest open and breathe. Make the most out of the inhalations there. Now slowly when you breathe out, you'll be bringing both your arms in front and parallel to each other. Holding that position, sinking further down with your hips, you'll be pulling your right arm back. Pull it as back as you can. Continue breathing in and out. Keep the chest open and expanded. Take a long deep breath in, extend the left arm up and point it up towards the skies, and lower the hips further down as you lift your chin up. Now from there, when you breathe out, you'll be bringing both your arms out in front and parallel to each other, fixing your fingers where they are in this space. Push into the floor with the help of the right foot and bring your right foot up on top of the left knee. Continue breathing in and out and sink with the hips further down, letting yourself stretch the right hip. Take a long deep breath in, send the arms up over the head. Lower the chin down to the chest and look towards where your left foot is at the moment. As you breathe out, you would just simply fold yourself from the base of the spine and put your hands down onto the back. Let yourself hold that position, curl your head in and relax your neck and your shoulders. Continue breathing in and out, and when you feel comfortable, you get the whole length of the left leg using the weight of the right leg on your left knee. Now from there, when you breathe out, you'll be letting yourself go and grab your left ankle with the left hand. From there, when you breathe out, when you feel comfortable and balanced, go grab your left ankle with your right hand. Keep breathing in and out. Relax your neck and your shoulders. And now slowly when you breathe out, you'll be letting yourself put both your hands down back on the same spot where you picked them up from, bending the left leg down on the mat in a way that your right ankle pushes into the chest. Lift your chin up. Now slowly when you breathe out, you'll be joining your hands together right into the center of the chest. Take a long deep breath and extend both the arms out in front and parallel to the floor. Breathe in, bring yourself up, place your foot down onto the mat and relax. I hope you really enjoyed the series. I know it is challenging. I know it does take a lot of balance to hold that position. I know it does require a lot of strength, but trust me, with practice, we can get there. I hope to see you next time on the same place.
Well, always a treat to watch Zubin, but of course, all of that fitness can leave us all very hungry. So we have Chef Abhinav with us, who's going to give us some really yummy breakfast today. Let's see what does he have in store for us.
Hi guys, welcome to Jamie's Italian, and my name is Chef Abhinav. Recipe for the day is honeycomb cannelloni. First of all, we will blanch these cannelloni tubes for around 3 to 4 minutes in a salty boiling water. So after we blanch it, the sheets become like this. We'll take this passata sauce.
Yum, yum,
Yum.
honeycomb cannelloni.
We should consider getting him live here in our studios.
I think so. And that would be perfect,
That
actually.
would be perfect. It's almost like, you know, torture to watch him make that and not be able to have it.
But you know, but I have to tell you, Sejal, if we have the chef live here, then we will also have Zubin Atre live here.
Oh yes,
we will also
absolutely.
be doing yoga.
Absolutely.
Are you okay with that?
Yes,
I wonder what Satya would have to say about this. I wonder. She'd be like, no, I just want the food. Well, on that note, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll see you on the other side. We, of course, have social media and a lot more for you here on WION Breakfast. Hello and welcome back. You're watching WION Breakfast. Now I have a question for you. Have you ever heard a song and completely misheard the lyrics?
I totally have.
I
do it all the time.
I do too. All the time.
All the time.
So we went on Twitter and we actually found a hashtag misheard lyrics and we thought it was hilarious. So here are some of the best misheard lyrics that Twitter had to offer. Misheard lyrics, my God, how much fun.
For the longest time, I thought Robert Plant was saying Beetlehead woman ain't got no soul.
Oh dear.
Ain't got no soul.
Oh dear.
Someone told me that he thought the Wiggles sang Go Salad Go instead of Go Santa Go.
Obviously some vegan healthy type person thought it was, yay, this is a song about me. All right. Wesley says, listening to Dirty Deeds by AC/DC and one of the kids asks me, are they saying thunder cheese?
Dirty Deeds, thunder cheese.
Oh my God. All right, Mike says, 30 years on, I still think Corey Hart was singing Don't Switch the Blade on the Diet Shades. Oh my God, totally misheard lyrics there.
My sister used to think that Natalie Cole, Miss You Like Crazy was Wish You Like Gravy.
Wish You Like Gravy?
A lot of misheard lyrics are somehow about food.
Yeah, salad, gravy. Yeah. All right, Louisa says, my little brother came up with this corker. Cecilia, you're breaking my heart.
You're shaking my coffee and staying. It totally makes sense. Carrie Underwood, maybe next time he'll think before he eats cheese.
Yeah, I think a lot of these people will miss hearing lyrics because they were thinking about food.
Yes,
cheese,
absolutely.
Salad, gravy. All right.
I love that song from Bruno Mars, 24 carats.
Yeah, hanging out there.
24K magic in the air.
All right, Ali says, all my friends are Indians. Take it slow. Misheard lyrics from the heathens, my goodness. All my friends are Indians.
All my friends are heathens. Take it slow. Listening to Gwen Stefani today, Holler Back Girl, my 8-year sang Ain't No Hall for Batgirl.
Oh, no.
Those are really hilarious.
Ain't no hall for Batgirl. Well, holler to us as well. This is all we have time for you this time on WION Breakfast. But do holler back on our Twitter accounts. You can write to us at WION_breakfast, or you can tweet to me on my Twitter handle, me Charu Shankar, and to Sejal as well.
Sejal_WION is my Twitter handle.
Well, and with that, we'd like to unmic ourselves. But we'll see you next week with more upbeat, interesting and positive stories from across the world. And of course, every week we would like to celebrate a theme. Do write in to us and tell us what you would like to see on WION Breakfast. We love to hear from our viewers. For now, I'm Charu Shankar.
And I'm Sejal Pandey. You've been watching WION Breakfast with us. Come back on Monday as we serve you another serving of WION Breakfast.